27 is here, and we are officially taking our talents to Georgia Southern with none other than the legend himself, Ed Reed, taking on the task of trying to rebuild or build the University of Georgia Southern, stepping up from the FCS ranks to the FBS ranks. And here we are looking at the prior history. In 2021, they were 3-9, 2022, 6-7. They went 6-7 in 2023 as well, 8-5 in 24, and 7-6 in 25. So checking out our AD expectations. So we have upgrade to premier facilities within the next 3 seasons, beat Appalachian State, and have fewer than 20 turnovers on offense this season. So seems like a lot of reasonable things. We're going to see exactly how reasonable these things are once we bring up the program overview. But nonetheless, it is time. It is time to jump head first into this thing. We don't anticipate this being as easy as it's been in the past. Well, at least not as easy as it was when we started out in 25. 26 was more of a struggle with Kent State, and it took us all the way until year 4 before we finally actually won our first national championship. And as you can see, we've unlocked Rainmaker, and that's due to our MVP Plus membership. We are not turning that off. We are not turning anything off. We simply have this on Heisman, and we're just going to roll with it and see exactly how far we can go to see exactly what we can do. So taking a look, we got Julian saying as an All-American. Before we get started in any of the other settings, let's go ahead and try to unlock or utilize some of this Coach XP. More than likely, now we don't really have access to any of these other things yet. We do have to achieve certain things. So winning together, 75, bonus XP. Yeah, we won't be able to unlock any of this until we accomplish the things that we need to accomplish. But we do want to focus on the recruiter aspect while we have time. So we want to unlock as many things at as many of these positions as possible. So an advanced look at QB. QBs take less time to fully scout. We'll definitely need that. Persuasive personality, increased chance to sway quarterbacks. Definitely will need that as well. So we're going to go through each one of these and do at least the first 2 tiers. For sure, the first tier, advanced look at running backs. Running backs take less time. Yeah, we need all of that because we're going to need every bit of these features in this journey as NIL is taking over the whole aspect of Dynasty mode right now. So we'll need all the help that we can get, especially since I held that poll and asked if I should stay put with my 1-star team or relocate them to a bigger conference. And everybody agreed to stay and grind it out. And I'm not sure exactly how much we had to start as far as Dynasty points is concerned, but it can't possibly be a lot. As you can look up at the top of this screen and you see that all we have is 40 points available to us that we can even utilize as far as the NIL is concerned. So I don't anticipate this recruiting journey being easy at all, but we are about to see here in just a second. As soon as we finish up, let's see, persuasive personality for running back. We definitely want to do it for receiver as well. Blocking for the O-line. We'll get the basic for that. We have 10 points left here. So we can't really get second tier on anything else, but we could do 10 for special teams. I might want to hold off. Kickers and punters take less time to fully scout. Do I really care about kickers and punters like that? Nah. So we're going to go ahead and actually check. We're going to go ahead and actually take a peek at the program overview, hire staff, and let's see. I don't think we need to hire staff. So staff, we have 260 Dynasty points allocated towards the staff. We have facilities we have to worry about, recruits, NIL, rostered NIL, and unspent. So as you can see, there isn't a lot at all. So we have 260 for the staff, 150 for facilities at the moment, unless we decide to upgrade or change that. 0 for recruits at the moment, and 330 rostered NIL players. So we're going to have to be real diligent going forward, not only with this 40 right now, but factoring in towards the end of the season. And if anybody asks for more, which I fully anticipate that should happen, especially if we have a decent year with certain guys. But right now, support staff, we don't really have a support staff. Neither can we afford a support staff right now. So it's not looking too good in that area. So upgrade the facility. Damn, they need 450 points just to upgrade the facility. Woo! All right, so definitely going to be a rough journey. So a premier facility is 450. How we are going to accrue or acquire 450 points to upgrade to a premier facility in 2 seasons? That is a good question. I have no clue. Recruiting NIL is unavailable. Oh yeah, duh. Of course, we can't do that because we haven't started anything yet. Rostered NIL, 330. That covers about 42% of our pie. So that's carrying a bulk of what we have. So this is going to be a journey. It's going to be a journey for sure. As you can see, everybody over here, Latrell Bullard is the most with 90. Then you got Josh Dallas with 75, River Helms with 55, Bynum with 40, and Brian at 25. So that's where a bulk of our NIL budget is at. And as far as the actual budget, as you can see, conference prestige 190, brand exposure 260, stadium atmosphere 140, program tradition is 190, miscellaneous and contract goals being 0. So that's enough looking at the program overview, because there's not much we can do with the program overview. There's not much we can do with this period. So actually it says 405 Dynasty points remaining. So I don't know. I guess maybe those 40 points were just what we had allocated for the facilities, coaching staff, so on and so forth. So I guess we do have a little more to work with as far as the NIL is concerned. But again, we have to be diligent. So we need 4 quarterbacks right now. So let's take a peek at what we got. And we have to be smart here as well. We want to add a couple 4 stars to the board, but we don't want to go too crazy. We want to be realistic. So we'll add a few 4 stars that seem like they're within reach. We'll add a few 3 stars as well. Leon Folk, he's a backfield creator. So that's definitely getting added to the board. Cameron Lamb, backfield creator, he's added as well. We have to utilize pipeline. Before we get into running backs, let's go ahead and utilize the pipeline for our quarterbacks. So looking, Dave Marcus, he's a backfield creator. We'll add him. Anybody that's a backfield creator, we want to take a chance at. JT Mangum, dual threat. All right, so backfield creator and dual threat. We want those guys because there's a probability that they may have a decent amount of speed that we can actually work with. Dylan Jocelyn, pocket passer. I don't know. I don't know if I could really trust a pocket passer. So Shadak, backfield creator, 6'4", 220. We'll add him to the recruiting board as well. Let's see what else we got. So we're 5 out of 4 on quarterbacks. We could probably go a couple more. Pocket passer, Alex Connors, pure runner. We could trust a pure runner, Stephen Kalu. Good speed, dual threat. We'll add him as well. 6'2", 184. So dual threat backfield creator are our prime targets. I think we're good there as far as quarterbacks is concerned, because they're only saying we need 4, but we've added 7 to the board. And y'all know me, if y'all been paying attention to my prior rebuilds, y'all know that I do a little overkill at certain positions and go light at other positions. So let's see. 3-star, north-south blocker, and 5'8", 180. We want to look for like a east-west playmaker. We don't want a bruiser. 9 times out of 10, bruisers are going to be slower running backs. So we want to look for guys as a backfield threat, for instance. So we want to look for backfield threats. We want to look for east-west playmaker, things of that nature. So let's see. Contact seeker, no. Elusive bruiser, no. North-south receiver. We can go with a north-south receiver as well. Backfield threat, there. North-south receiver, Patrick Qualls. We can add him. Backfield threat, George Mbao, whatever, however you say that name. Here we are, back with the names. EA has finally gotten the profile pictures right, but these names are so crazy. They're all over the place, but I get it. It's a pool of all of the players that ever existed in here. So taking a look at wide receivers. Now, if y'all remember towards the end of that Kent State rebuild, people like this Earl Candidate guy is going to be key in the rebuild, because like I mentioned before, there was always a struggle with recruiting receivers, bigger receivers. like Cumberland right here, 6'3", 190. We'll add him to the board as well. But there's always been a struggle with these bigger receivers where we'll recruit them and their speed, well, not just the bigger receivers in general, but we're targeting bigger receivers where their speed is like 84, 85, 86, somewhere in that range. And we always discard them. But one of my viewers had mentioned that, hey, I just normally take those slow receivers and move them to tight end. And I don't know why I never thought of that, because I've always done it in Madden. Don't do it in our online franchise anymore because I have a restriction on moving wide receivers to tight ends, period. But that's the best idea. Why just throw these talented wide receivers at the waistline because they're slow? If they're on the bigger end, we could just move them to tight end. And as you can see, we need 4 tight ends, but we're not going to go after actual tight ends. We're just going to add a bunch of receivers to our recruiting board. The bigger receivers, we're going to target towards moving them to the tight end position. So although it will say that we don't have any tight ends or that we need 4 tight ends, we won't really need 4 tight ends because we're filling that void right here, right now with the receiver position. So now that we've added a few of the larger targets to our recruiting board, let's take a peek at some of the actual receivers that we would need, like the speedsters, like here. All right. Anybody that's a speedster, and then also we're right in the range where we want to be adding some of these guys with 2-star, like I mentioned early on before. Yes, we want to add a few 4 stars, not a ton, a couple 3 stars, but we really want to add the 2 stars. So tight ends, we'll add a couple just because, but we're not really going to target these guys like say so, because like I mentioned, 9 times out of 10, they're going to come out, their speed is going to be anywhere between like 67 and 76. I don't have time to be dealing with a tight end that's slow like that, especially going across the middle of the field when we like to push the ball down the field in a high-powered offense with the speedsters on the outside, opening up things across the middle. So we need a playmaker across the middle, and what better way to do that than to add a receiver, a bigger receiver that we can convert and turn him into a hybrid tight end. So now, adding our tackles, we can use about 1 more. I may go over here as well. This is another position that I like to go over on. So tackle, we need 1 more, and we can use a few guards. So let's see, pass protector. Yeah, we can go with that. All right, so guards, we need 2 guards here. So looking for 2 stars. See, at this point now, we have to be real careful of the players that we add to our board because we don't want to add guys that are requesting NIL. We want to add guys who aren't requesting any. That way, if we can throw like 5 to 10 points here and there, so be it. But we don't want to be stuck in a position where we got a bunch of guys who are requesting NIL money. Now, I am going to throw that NIL money out at the notable positions like the quarterback position, the running back position, the wide receiver position. All those other positions we're not too worried about. If it comes down to it and we need somebody for like cornerback or something of that nature, we'll figure that out. But the primary focus is quarterback, running back, and receiver, starting with quarterback in that order. Well, no, not in that order. So the order would be quarterback, receiver, running back. I got to take a look at the roster, but I think we might be cool right now as far as running back is concerned. So we can leave that as 3rd in the pecking order. But prime focus is going to be quarterback because every organization, whether it's a university, whether it's a professional organization, it all starts with your quarterback. So we got to make sure we find our quarterback of the future first, then find his dynamic duo, his running mate at the wide receiver position, and then we'll look for the running back. Everything else is gravy after that. We can fill those voids. I think going into the offseason, our primary focus is going to be building an offensive line around said quarterback and wide receiver, because what good is it going to do us if we have that quarterback of the future, that wide receiver of the future, or even that running back of the future, and we don't have an offensive line to protect them? So we need 1 more prospect, and we're nowhere near filling out all our needs right now. So I could see this changing substantially. We'll go ahead and add that cornerback, and we'll worry about everything else later. But right now, it is time to go ahead and start scouting because, of course, this phase, we can't add any scholarships. We can't apply any scholarships at this phase anymore. It's only scouting. So we're starting off. Paul Francis, the first QB, has 79 speed. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm looking more along the lines of 80. I like the throw power here for Leon Falk. Like 85-ish is what I'm looking for. 83 would be doable. Okay, see, like this right here. 83 is doable. We can work with 83 speed. I'm not tempted to add him to my favorites just yet. So let's see. Dave Marcus. Let's see good throw power here as well. 78 speed. And of course, they tempt you. This year, they tempt you with that gem. Makes it look like you received the gem, and then they immediately X them out when they haven't become a gem. So he'll be on the back burner for now. Oh, we don't even need to go any further with JT Mangum. 85 speed, yes. No need to scout anymore, and we can go ahead and add him to our favorite list along with Leon Falk. So far we have 2 players that we have on our favorite list. We're going to keep them near the top so we know going forward what we want to do or who we want to target as far as this recruiting is concerned. So 72 for Shadak isn't really the best at all. We're going to go ahead and remove him from the board in all. We don't want no quarterback with that kind of speed. So Stephen Kalu, 78 speed. See, another lower speed quarterback. I'm not taking no 78 speed quarter. You got to at the least be like 82, 83. And that's even being fair right there. So 83 for good speed. We can work with that. We'll go ahead and add him to our favorites list as well. And let's see. Francis is 79. I'm questioning Francis. He's a 4-star, but that doesn't really matter at this point. I need you to have at least 82, 83 speed. So far, our prime target right now is JT Mangum with the 85 speed. Didn't really need to scout a ton more. And we already know that that's the guy we want to roll with. And he's a 3-star. He's reasonable. He's within our range. And we may just end up going all in on him as far as NIL is concerned. I wasn't planning on offering a ton of NIL like to one person. I was mainly just focusing on looking at guys that have 40 and 50 or even offering 40 and 50. But he might be the one that we go all in on just to make sure we secure. So now we are officially on running backs and we have athletes, and you can't be an athlete with that low speed. So, all right. So 91 acceleration, he's got to have good speed, right? Oh my God, 84. How you got 91 acceleration, 84 speed? We'll leave him there because his acceleration is high, but oh my God, what's up with all these guys with at the running back position with 84 speed? We can't get no fast running backs. Maybe we're going to have to convert fast receivers to running back or something at this point. So 85 speed for Earl Candidate. And he's 6'5", 195. That's doable. We can work with that. In the past, before going with this whole narrative of moving the bigger receivers to tight end, we would have completely discarded them. But here we go, another one. 82 for Cumberland. That's doable. That's doable if we're talking about guys that we're going to move to the tight end position. When you compare it to what some of these guys come in at the tight end position with like 70-something speed, yeah, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up this first episode as we're already sitting here nearing 20 minutes for the first episode. If I continue to go any further, this thing would be 40, 50 minutes long or so just opening up this Dynasty rebuild. So stay tuned for the next episode. We're going to get further into this thing, and eventually we're going to get into our first game action. As always, if you're here for the first time or you're returning and you haven't liked or subscribed already, please do so. Click that notification tab so you can stay up to speed with more of this Georgia Southern rebuild as well as other College Football 27 content. Again, I appreciate you all for tuning in. That's been my time. Till next time. Peace.